I believe that that is a policy that is understandable. They promote increased trade agreements. In the Roman law, the fact that agreements must be respected, treaties must be respected. What is happening in Taiwan, in the Taiwan Straits, is exactly the same. The use of force, intimidation, threats continues by the day. Dozens of maneuvers very similar to what happened on the border of Ukraine. I believe that that is a policy that is understandable. They promote increased trade agreements, but there is, I said before, that the old Roman saying, basic of Roman law, not only international law, international relations, which existed already at the times of Romans, as you in your country, the concept of liberalism and freedom. I remember wonderful treaties and articles written by Amartya Sen, an extraordinary scholar of your country, which I had the honor to meet sometimes in Washington. There are in our ancient culture, there are fundamental principles. You have those principles I just mentioned, the pluralism in certain documents in India, dating back many centuries, if not millennia. And in the Roman law, the fact that agreements must be respected, treaties must be respected. But the other aspect, which is equally important, is the question of reciprocity and equal dignity. So if a country is much, much bigger, much stronger, much wealthier than another, there is an imbalance in population or whatever, it is not by chance that the UN charters foresees that in the General Assembly, San Marino, Liechtenstein, Jamaica, Vanuatu, and others have the same votes that India, China, United States, Italy, Germany, South Africa have. Because when you talk about parity of conditions, equal rights, that's exactly what that means. And if you listen, and we have all memories of discussions, for instance, with, if I remember correctly, there were conferences, ASEAN, meetings with China, and so on. At a certain point, I remember that a dignitary from China somehow reacted to some request of a smaller country in the Southeast Asia, saying, "But what do you want? We are 50 times bigger than you are, 100 times wealthier than you are, 1,000 times more powerful and more forceful than you are. Whatever you want, what can you say? You just have to shut up and respect what we are asking." That is exactly the contrary of the world that we want to live in. What is happening in Taiwan, in the Taiwan Straits, is exactly the same. The use of force, intimidation, threats continues by the day. Dozens of maneuvers and all the predisposition, very similar to what happened on the border of Ukraine. God save us from that another experience of that kind that could be really a disaster. In Tibet, there are two genocidal stories in the Republic of China, which have been gone for many, many years. In Tibet, from the mid-50s, when the agreement was not reached after difficult negotiation, we know, with the Tibetan authorities, and at a certain point, they decided, Beijing decided to send overwhelming military force, occupation, and so on. But from then on, there are the main elements of genocide convention, the Convention Against Genocide of the United Nations, have been constantly practiced by the Chinese occupier in Tibet, because eradication of language, displacement of people, threatening avoiding schooling and so on, imposition of another culture, distraction of the cultural identity, even distraction of their religion, if you want, in a very malicious way, because then really a great appreciation, I think the international community must pay to the Indian government for hosting Her Sanctity the Dalai Lama, because it is another demonstration of freedom of religion and respect. Not only the religions are free in India, but they are helped to survive in their identity. And this is extremely worthy for everybody, from the international community as a whole and for free democracies. There is no doubt. But in Tibet, there is an ongoing genocide, which has been ongoing for the last 70 years. There is no doubt. Is enough to read again the Convention Against Genocide by the United Nations, 1949.